All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, depending on where you are. My name is Kyle King. I'm the Managing Director of Capacity Building International. All right, great. So we've got a lot of people that have been through our webinars in the past few iterations. And now today we're very fortunate to have somebody presenting with us today from China, presenting that international model. And so that's something that we are really looking forward to. And just we're going to start with the normal administrative remarks as we always do through these types of webinars. And just to kind of set the conditions for the webinar for today, we are going to be going for about an hour, just so you know, in advance. So we've got quite a presentation to get through today. And if you could just let us know really quick, where are you joining from and just let us know in the chat. So we've been registering about 30 to 34 different countries with every webinar. So it's been a pretty good success. And we're well over 100 registrations and well over 100 registrations for this particular event. And so in case that you have any questions, just let us know in the Q&A section. And we'll be able to get those. We're joined here also by Victoria from CBI, and she's our project coordinator. She's going to be actually taking the Q&A and then logging those so that we can get to those towards the end of the presentation. If for whatever reason we do happen to run out of time, then we will actually post some of those questions inside of our LinkedIn group, and then we'll answer them there as well. If in case, for whatever reason, we do reach our limit on the webinar feature, I did want to raise this because we will have this webinar up on demand for those that want to attend or didn't get a chance to attend live because we reached our peak capacity. We will also be uploading this to YouTube eventually after a couple of weeks. So it'll stay up on demand for about a week or at least until our next webinar comes up. And then we will then take that down. We'll upload it to YouTube. And then it'll also be listed on the Teams website, the CBI website, and also in our LinkedIn event page. So everything will be posted there. There'll be multiple ways to access the video and the recording of the webinar itself. And speaking of the LinkedIn event page, if you're not joining in that already, that is the place where we're putting most of our notifications into that LinkedIn event page. So you're there, you can join the other 200 plus professionals and emergency managers that are in that event page for any type of notifications, or you can ask questions, or we put any different information there, such as slides and things like that from our previous speakers. So if you want to, just go ahead and head over there and join that if you haven't done that already, as we had some real challenges in trying to organize an entire year of webinars and not just overwhelming people with emails and everything else like that. So we wanted to just create a central location where everybody could post questions and or information. So speaking of webinars and that whole process in our 2021 webinar series, and as you know, this is done in partnership with Teams, the International Emergency Management Society, and we're joined here again, of course, as always, by Errol Drager, the president of Teams. And our future webinars are going to be starting throughout May and June, are now going to be the Manchester series from the University of Manchester, talking about their work with resilience and recovery efforts. We also have Finland, France coming up in May as well, Australia and United Kingdom coming up in June. So this should also be very good events coming up and highly recommended for those who want to attend. And again, even if you don't get the chance to attend live because of the different time zones, then we also will have recordings and those on demand as well. And speaking of time zones, of course, we're trying to be very flexible with our speakers, and we very much appreciate them presenting their national models. In that case, you can see the wide variety of time that we have with our webinars and our different speakers being an international audience. And so we're trying to be just as flexible as possible. And it's currently, I think it's after 9 p.m. in China. And so our speaker is staying up a little bit late to do this for us. And so it's greatly appreciated. And so now, as I said, I'm Kyle King, Managing Director of CBI, and I'm joined by Harold. And at this point, Harold, I'll turn over to you for any opening remarks that you have.
Thank you, Kyle. I have a good morning or good evening, good night, or whatever, wherever you are. And I would like to give you a little bit update of development. So, okay, I just wanted to update you a little bit about the development in Teams. And now we have set the dates for the annual conference. It will be in November, 22nd to 26th of November in Paris. And this time we will do it both physically, maybe 2 days, and virtually at the same time. We had good experience by doing it virtually last year. And this time we will also ask for peer-reviewed papers. So we will both have peer-reviewed papers and practical papers. So think about that, set off the time for it, and the call for papers will be soon out. I also wanted to update you. I did, as the first presentation, present Teams International Certification, which we call TQC. Since we did this, we also got a request that people without too much experience, but with education in international emergency management also could have this opportunity. So we have added what we call TQAC, which is an associate certification. And you see this is illustrated by the different logos. The certification, as I have shown before, and TQAC, which has got the blue color. And this is, I have this slide says that TQC is a certification for individuals, emergency managers with a nationally recognized professional certification, or other individuals with documented competence and experience, practical or academic, in international emergency and disaster management. And TQAC is then a certification for individuals with proper education in emergency management, but who is lacking the practical experience as required for TQC. We are working this out and will soon be offered. And we have diplomas for this, of course. We have the diploma for the with proven academic and practical qualification, and also then for those with academic qualification. I wanted to tell you this before I have a picture here where you introduced Guosheng. I think this will be very interesting to everybody to know what's happening in China, because I have traveled China since 1994 and I've seen a tremendous development and changes in the society. And I think communicating with how they do also management, emergency management in China is very important for us. So with that, I give the word over to a proper introduction of Guosheng by Kyle.
Yeah, thanks, Harold. Actually, that's a great slide. So I think that did very good to show a kind of an introduction, and I'll actually let Guosheng introduce himself, who is our guest speaker for today. And also just a quick comment, just for everybody attending so far, just hang with us. We've got a pretty extensive presentation for today. So the webinar will be for about an hour or so. And again, if you do have questions, use the Q&A session. We'll try and get to those to the end of the presentation and to do everything from there. And Victoria will be tracking those. If we do run out of time, again, we'll be posting those in the LinkedIn group. So Guosheng, thanks for joining us today. And now I'll turn it over to you for an introduction and presentation.
Hello, good night, good morning, and good afternoon for everybody. I'm Qu Guosheng from National Earthquake Response Support Service of Ministry of Emergency Management of China. So the topic today is the new national emergency management systems in China, and it's a focus and experience and future plan. So the contents of today, I would like to introduce 4 of them. The first one is the achievements of emergency management in China in the past 20 or 30 years. And also the second is the main focus and experience on comprehensive capacity building and resiliencies in China. And also the future plan on the new system of MEM of China. And then finally, I would like to introduce some ideas for cooperation of Belt and Road Initiative. So the first one, I would like to introduce some achievements of emergency management in China. So China has experienced many catastrophes in the history. So the history of China is the history that we're fighting natural disaster. For example, floodings, because in the ancient China, there are many floodings from Yangtze River and also Yellow River, and also the earthquake because there's Tibet, and also the main boundaries faults caused many earthquakes, and also in the northern China part, there are many earthquakes occur, and also typhoon along the coast area, and also geological disasters, forest fires, and other natural disasters. So we have many kinds of natural disasters in the history of China, and also from the new foundations of China from 1949 to 2003, there were many ministries concerned with natural disasters. So the individuals for each of the natural disasters managed by different ministries or different department. So, for example, we have a long history before the Ministry of Emergency Management founded. The earthquake managed by the China Earthquake Administration. So, and there's most of the natural disasters and managed by the different departments or different ministries. And also we have work safety disasters, public health, and social securities in the now also we some of them as depends on the different ministries. So there are no comprehensive organizations to respond to disasters. So that's depends on the levels of state councils of China. And from the 2003, there's a big SARS epidemic occurred in China. So the Chinese government set up the Emergency Management Agency as belong to the State Council of China, and to respond to and also coordinate big disaster issues. So after that, there are many emergency management agencies in the different provinces in China was established at 4 levels of government management. So we divided into the nation, province, region, and county level. So in China, there are many years we have 4 levels disaster management from the national level to county level. And also there are some agencies were upgraded at all levels after the Wenchuan earthquake in 2008. So from 2003 to 2008, as the emergency management agencies very quickly developed in China. But after the Wenchuan earthquake in 2008, the user capacity buildings has developed very quickly. So up to now, from the 2003 to 2018, we have several stages for the different capacity building for emergency management, and also for the user team, for many certain rescue team. So after Wenchuan earthquake is a biggest period in China, we developed the user teams very quickly. So that's from 2003 to 2018. And the Ministry of Emergency Management was founded in 2018, in 16th of April, just 3 years ago. We founded. But from the 2003, and especially in 2007, there's a eruptional events law in China. There's a classification of disaster in China. So we divided into 4 kinds of disasters. So we divided into the natural disaster, incident disaster, and also security and safety and public health. So there are many kinds of classification for each of them can be divided. And also from 2004, after the big earthquake and the tsunami of Indian Ocean, so the emergency management cycles with the 4 stage also improve into China. So and now we are we make in the each levels of management agencies from national to county level. We also we prepared as a four stage emergency management, mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. So and in the USA part, because we have long time studies about the catastrophe of earthquake. So we statistics about 40 years big earthquake disasters. So we divided into 5 stages: preparedness, emergency response, emergency search and rescue, and allocation, recovery, and reconstruction. And also we divided into 10 steps. So the first 3 steps as just for the preparedness. We depends on the risk assessment, and we make the emergency preparedness and emergency plan. If the disaster issues occur, so we from 4 to 8, we have an emergency response and also disaster information very quickly collection, and then we make a decision making on time, and then we have a rescue arrangement for many USA team, and then on-site coordination and commandings, and then the rescue resources, how to management, hold of the rescue resources to a very huge catastrophe area. So that's the during the big earthquake occur. So there are maybe concerning with the maybe about several hundred kilometers long and several uh, maybe 10 or 50 kilometers wide for the disaster area. So for each catastrophe of earthquake, there's a huge area. So maybe more than 10,000 buildings collapsed. So and more than 10,000 people died. So that's a huge area. So we need coordinate for many USA teams. And then for the public, for the disaster area, many public and many peoples. So we have a allocation of homeless people and reconstruction. So that's the 5 stage, 10 step. And here's the classification of UN OCHA, depends on the ISRA guideline. So there's international heavy media USA team, and also the national level USA team. We divided into heavy, media, light, and also for the first responders, for the third, for the community level respond, and also the civil defense protection, local emergency service. So this will be the third part of the response for big catastrophe. That's the classification from ISRA guideline. And also, as you know, in China, we have a lot of people and also the huge countries squares. So and we have a national level and a provincial, regional, county level USA teams. Up to now in China, we have 2 international USA teams. The first one is CISA, China International Search and Rescue Team. And the second we called China Search and Rescue Team. The first one is founded in 2001. And the second one is founded in 2018, just after Ministry of Emergency Management founded in September of 2018. So, and these 2 international USA team in 2019, in October 23, these 2 international teams passed the IEC RER of the ISRA guideline, ISRA certification. So up to now, China has 2 international USA team as the only one in Asia and Pacific area. So in Asia area, we have 4 international. The first one is from Singapore, and the second one is from China, third one from Japan, and the fourth one from South Korea. So in China part, we have national level, and also since 2016, we have the national level USA team. We have we call it the national accreditation process. As now is the main focus by the UN OCHA INSRA guideline. So and we divided also the heavy, medium, and light, and also the third and the first responder. And here is the first time in the 2009 we passed the IEC of CISA, passed the INSRAG external classification of heavy USA team, and also up to this year, this map shows we have about 20 times have a operation during the big disasters in domestic of China and also in international. So we have in Pakistan, in Nepal, and also in Indonesia, and also in the in other countries, and also we have been Haiti and Japan, so the New Zealand. So there are many operations for search and rescue during the past 20 years. And also in recent years, we have a mini earthquake in China. Here is the east boundary of Tibet, and here is the west boundary of Tibet. So we can see surrounding the Tibet and also in the inner Tibet, there are many big earthquakes occurred since that century. So and here is the Nepal earthquake, and also Pakistan earthquake here, and Yutian earthquake in China in 2008 also. So and in the past about 20 years, we have concluded some process. We make a process for CISA, how to respond, how to start up the teams, how to respond. So and the task of National Earthquake Response Support Service will give the technical support for CISA. So my organizations as the special search and rescue technical support for CISA and also for China search and rescue team. So and if the big earthquake occurred in the world, for example, the magnitude over 6 in continent and 6.5 in ocean area, we will start up our system. And then if there are no response, there are no disaster caused by strong earthquake. And if there's a huge disaster by the strong earthquake, so rescue operation will be start up. And then through the commandings of MEM and the Department of International Cooperation and Rescue in our MEM, and then to the State Council, to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and to the government, the countries that are affected by the disaster. So that's we formed a process how to respond after the earthquake occurred in half hour, 1 hour, 3 hour, and so normally we start to start up our CISAs. Normally after the 3 hours of the big earthquake, we will make decision if we will make an operation of certain rescue, and normally 10 hours later we will start up our USA team. So and that's for the international search and rescue. But for the domestic of China, it's maybe only 10 minutes or half hour. We will give our orders for the startup of our operations for big disasters. So and here this diagram is the international response framework by the INSRA. So the UN OCHA, we have a Visit OSAC, ANDAC, RDC, and OSAC, and also there's some the local Lima local emergency management agencies. So in the USA, is just I mentioned, we have a domestic and also we have a USA international. And up to now, there are about 60 USA teams past the IEC or IER in whole of the world. About 60 the heavy and medium USA team. And also after the 2011, after the big earthquake after the Japan, East Japan earthquake and the tsunami, there's the models of multi-sub and decentralized OSA for USA coordination framework was established by the INSRAG guideline. And also the second part, we main focus and experience on comprehensive capacity buildings and resiliencies. So just I mentioned, after the 2018 to present, the new ministry was founded in China in March of 2008. And then the new ministry is responsible for the natural disaster and also working safety, the big minor or coal mine disasters. So, and involved in the Ministry of Emergency Management. But in China part, for the public health, we have the Ministry of Public Health. And also for the security and safety, we have another ministries. So, and in the whole of our ministry, we have 200,000 firefighters across whole of China. And then we have 2 international heavy USA team. And also we have some, we have about 80 provincial. And in whole of China, just our minister said we have about 461 USA team for earthquake now. And also we have a firefighter bureau, forest firefighter bureau, and work safety emergency commanding center, and also the National Earthquake Response Support Service will be created a national level emergency response organization and the teams. So the national level USA teams will be come from this organization. And also in 2019, there are provincial, regional, and country level bureaus founded to manage emergency issues related to natural disaster and work safety disasters. So up to now, from the national level to provincial, regional to county level, whole of the emergency new ministry, new system were founded now. And in October 23 of 2019, 2 USA team passed the heavy USA team by the INSRAG secretary. So and there are many more than 20 bureaus and departments involved in the new ministries and focus on the rescue, coordination, and planning, and also earthquake and geological disaster rescue department, and flooding and drought prevention department, and also risk monitoring and comprehensive disaster risk reduction department, commanding center for national level disaster, and also international cooperation and rescue department, science and technology and the information department. So there are many new departments and bureaus involved in our new ministry. And also, for example, the work safety emergency commander center and China earthquake administration also involved in this new ministry. And then now we focus on the emergency preparedness, capacity building of international heavy USA team, capacity building of 7 kinds of international rescue team, and also 4 kinds of domestic rescues, water, mountain, USAS, and aviation search and rescue. So that's the main capacity building for the future. And also some important science and technology plan on emergency management. So involving include the preparedness, response, rescue, and recovery, and also assessment of disaster risks, and also the rescue coordination for the NGO rescue teams in China, and also the monitoring and early warning system, urban and forest fire, wild and fire fightings, and also the national accreditation process, NAP. It's based on the ER NAP. It's by the ISRA guideline. So, and we have the USA certification in domestic of China. And also there are some open cooperation for international skills. And here's the diagrams shows in China, which one is belong to the new ministry, and also, for example, fire rescue, forest fires, and emergency medicals as belong to the Ministry of Public Health, and also the floodings as also the new ministries, and also the Ministry of Water Resource. So that gives the structures which ministries response which kinds of disaster. So, and also we have our technical coordinations, and here's the functions: warning, emergency plan, coordination. So MEM make a very important roles for the coordination, plan, and assessment, and also for search and rescue, for strategy service, and supply for, and also for the social communication, and we will response for main catastrophe, the natural disasters, and also working safety disasters. So here we have emergency managers, and also some of them for the role of the main roles in the in China part. So, and firefighter structures in the whole of the in China, the firefighters involved in our new ministries. And also depends on the 4-stage emergency management cycles. We have also the preparedness, coordination, so the risk planning, and also business continuity management, and also some of the information for the public. And here's the coordination for and the supervision mechanism of MEM. We response operation, relocation, and recovery for whole levels. We have 4 levels: national level, and regional provincial response, and city regional, and county level. So that's, and here is the numbers. For example, we have the death toll if over 300, and the new system is about 500. If the death toll is over 500 by the earthquake, so then we will start up the national level response. And if from the 100 to 500, we will response as a provincial level. So that's we. And for the coordination, also we have ministry. We operate for the level 1 emergency for natural and also work safety disasters. And the Ministry of Public Health will operate in first levels emergency for public health, and also the securities and safety will operate for the social security issues. So we have 4 kinds of disasters, but first 2 of them belong to the Ministry of Emergency Management. So, and here's for the earthquake. We have 4 levels response, and also we have 4-level government response diagram. And also, if the big earthquake occur, we have will formed the national level commanding center, or commanding commanding department to coordinate, to commanding how to make an operation for the big disaster. So here's the after Wenchuan and the Yushu earthquake, we have this task group of commanding center in national level. And here's the desktop chart. We have some models, new models, how to very quickly to make decisions or predict the desktop of the earthquake. So normally in China part now, after the big earthquake, about 8 to 14 hours, normally about 10 hours later, we can make a calculate what's the desktop of the earthquake. So depends on these numbers of the desktop of the earthquake, we will coordinate how user teams, how levels of user teams could be very quickly to coordinate, to mobilize to disaster area. So this in China part we have several very important parameters. So desktop in after the 10 hours later is a very important parameters for us to make a decision how many user team, how what's the area and province or regional government, how many of them we must start up or response. So depends on this models to very quickly to give the predicts of the desktop. And also this diagram as show about the COVID-19. I just show the COVID-19 how changed this curves. So there's a big curve, the peak, and then very quickly to decrease. So that's a very critical models in China. The diagram shows the change of whole process of new cases of COVID in Wuhan here, and this diagram is shown for in whole China. So and you can find in the during the fighting with COVID-19 in China part, the very important is the foundational organization. For example, the community levels make a very important roles because we have many methods. We have many methodologies used in the community level, in the school, in company, in the communities. So very quickly to decrease the new cases to of the COVID-19. So the third part is for future plans on the new system of MDM of China. So and we have a preparedness for improving resiliencies of large cities. We have here is the first level critical parameters, and also we have third levels about 50 parameters, and we have third levels about 220 parameters to give to evaluate which kinds preparedness you will be enough or good, which kinds of them will be not enough or you absent. So you must depends on this evaluation to prepare the some goods and some equipment, so we can very quickly to know which kinds of risk, which levels of risk we can prepare. And also from 2018, from the national level, the President Xi gave the national level capacity building. There are 9 big projects. The first one is disaster risk survey and the main hazard investigation, and then reparation project for ecological capacity building in weakness area, and the third one is preserved and preparation project along the coast area, and the buildings and infrastructure reinforced projects in high seismic belt, seismic risk area, and also the improving capacity for flooding and drought infrastructure and the comprehensive recovery of geological disaster and evacuation and migration project from geological disaster. And this one is the project for construction of regional emergency response and rescue commanding center, and also for the project of natural disaster monitoring and early warning system, the network and the system, and also the modernization of natural disaster prevention of high equipment and tech. So, and there's a national level 9 big project, and it depends on the UN OCHA. We have based INSRAG recognitions of INSRAG. We have a national accreditation process. So here is the main of the standard is from the international scale. And also here is IEC certification. And then now we have a national accreditation process by OCHA. So from the 2019, we have passed the 2 USAT international team. And then we use this standard into China part. So, and in the next few years, the national accreditation process will be very quickly developed in China. So, and here's the ERNAP certification. Here it depends on the ISRA guideline. There's 5 components: management, search, rescue, medical, and logistics. That's for the for one user team. And here's from the 2016, the first national user team we have founded. Depends on the international standard. And also, since 2014 or 2015, we improved the ideas from USA about the search and also the users concepts in China. So here's the search and user operation pictures how to work. So after the big earthquake occurred or some issues occurred, CERT will make a very important role for response. So, and we compiled the new CERT training courses, and we in Chengdu area, in Shanxi province, we cooperation with USA expert group. We have founded a Chinese expert group, and we make a pilot area from the Wenchuan earthquake. So we compiled the new training courses in Chinese words. So up to now, since 2006, we have a lot of training program in China for the basic training, instructors training, and managers trainings. And also we make a process, the government how to hold this training courses. And we have some CERT instructor training courses. And also we have training organization. And we have some project sent by the government, local government. And so like this, we funded our CERT in many cities in China now. And also from the pilot cities, for example, the new standard for the community capacity building. So here is the 9 parts is from the Chengdu province, Chengdu city. The one well-done established emergency organizing system, making one perfect emergency management mechanism, and also setting up one CERT, making one suite of useful emergency contingency plan, and setting up one necessary emergency logistics support system. And the fourth is forming one daily user emergency education and training mechanism. And the 7th part is setting up one integrated and high efficient emergency information management platform or system. And also we have established many emergency shelters and also the very clearly identified emergency identification and marking system in the emergency shelters. So this concluded from the Chengdu city. And the fourth one is the cooperation of Belt and Road Initiative. So here's the map shows the global seismic risk map. The red part colored red color area with the high risk of earthquake. Normally they have the magnitude, the potential, the magnitude of earthquake 7 to 8. So that's a very high risk area. And here we know there the classification of users, and also here's the coordination diagrams of UNOCHA. And we think if it's possible, we could transfer Chinese experience of the capacity buildings of international and national level users to the world, and also especially to the Belt, Road and Belt Initiative areas. So here is the Road and Belt from China to Europe. We think in the futures we could contribute some for the world from China part. And so here's some capacity buildings and resiliencies of emergency preparedness. We think we have 9 paths to make the integrated risk assessment and risk mapping in urban area and rural area, and to make disaster prevention and resistance based on the risk level, and to make the emergency preparedness based on the scenario disaster, and also to make a contingency plan for the response of disaster, and also to compile the coordination mechanism, regulation, and laws on the emergency issues and emergency management, and also to improve the capacity building of emergency management agencies, EOCs, and users in developing country, and also to establish a global and regional disaster quick response network, having the capacity on public service and mass casualty management during the disasters, and also the training and exercises for different level of government officials and professional user teams and volunteers. And finally, the training and improving capacity of disaster prevention in communities and towns and levels in the developing country. So we think in the future, if as possible, we can not only develop in China part, and also contribute to the global scale. So and here, and finally, I invited whole of the participants tonight. If we have a chance, you can to visit China, and also you are welcome to visit our China National Training Base for urban search and rescue. This training base is belong to our organization, and here is the original of search and rescue training courses in the first one in China. So we have many training courses. So that's my talk. You are welcome to China and to our training base. Thanks a lot for your attention for my presentation. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you very much. Very interesting and quite a lot of information there to go through, and I do appreciate you taking the time to do that. We do have a number of questions now, Boxing, so if you don't mind, I'll ask you some questions. We're already at about nearly an hour, so we've got another 5 to 10 minutes to answer some quick questions. The first question is, could you give us some insight or some ideas about the nature-based solutions proposed in China to mitigate some of the impacts from disasters like cyclones or tsunamis? Has there been any discussions in China with regards to nature-based solutions?
Yes, in China, we involved the whole of the natural disasters, also involved the response for tsunami, earthquake and tsunami, and also for typhoon, and also for the floodings. So now it's the task of new ministry. And also we have many commanding centers and commanding system from national level to now we just establish the regional level. In the future in China, we will establish 6 regional commanding certain rescue or emergency response and certain rescue commanding center in 6 regional area. And also then we have a provincial level and a county level. So a regional level and a county level. So that's the new system in China.
Okay, interesting. So let's follow that thread for just a second. So when you're talking about the command and control centers and things like that, so how do you manage a command or a common command and control system in such a vast, environment like that? So as you had mentioned, you have a number of centers and networks. Is that very challenging to manage such a wide network for the disaster response elements?
So in the ministry, we have about 20 uh, emergency management bureau or department. And also we have about 450 some centers and some technical support. For example, the National Earthquake Response Support Service, our organization, as one of special organization for USA team. And also we have for early warning, natural disaster early warning center. We use the satellite observation network very quickly to get the disaster information. And also we have a special commanding center for the coal mines and work safety disaster. They are in the provincial level. There are also some of the organization to make the support for the whole of the capacity building. So I saw here some questions in the. I just give some very briefly answers. So the China Earthquake Administration still existed. It's also involving the Ministry of Emergency Management as the vice level, vice ministry as this kinds of organization below to the emergency management of Ministry of Emergency Management. So that's for the China Earthquake Administration. And also there are some questions.
Okay, let's address another question here. So, in terms of the CERT training that you mentioned, is that directly organized by the Ministry of Emergency Management, or is that a department in a city that will organize the training by themselves?
Yes, in our ministry, we have a special department responsible for the CERT, and also we have a pilot project for the county or city, not only for CERT. So that's belong to the response by the risk monitoring and comprehensive disaster management department. So there's a special department from the MEM, and also in the province, regional and county level, there is a special department response to these kinds of things. So for example, in Sichuan province, there's a emergency the Department of Emergency Management of Sichuan province. They have a special department for this kind, the same things response. And also, for example, in Chengdu City, there's a special department response for the the foundational organization, how to training for that. That's
Okay,
involved in the
interesting.
new system. Yeah.
And so, do these special departments, how do they engage with the communities? What are some of the programs that they have to engage with the local community in order to build preparedness?
In many provinces or cities, there's some society
Hmm.
or some association. So they will works together with the government. So there are some instructors from the some society and also some association of local area. So and that depends on the risk. So up to now, Sichuan province, Shanxi, and Gansu province, there are many earthquake and geological disasters. So as I know, there are a lot of the training courses have taken, but in other countries, other province, just in the beginning. But in the coast area, for example, in Shenzhen, we know Shenzhen is a very quickly developed city. There are also the third and first responders for typhoon and floodings and geological disasters. So it depends on the different area with the different the disaster types. So the contents or training courses changes. So that's we in China part we divided into different we divided into 6 big area. So with the different kinds of risk and risk level. So now that's we just into the comprehensive disaster, how to make preparedness and emergency management.
Okay, thank you. So just a couple more questions because we've already gone over our time, but um, going back to the search and rescue teams, and so the SAR teams, you also train or exercise, or do you also train or exercise at the government with higher level officials? Is that part of
Yes,
your program as well? Okay.
yes. So every year we have many training courses. For example, today I just gave training courses for Sichuan province. Hold of the emergency management managers from the county to regional levels. We training together today in this week. So we training every year for example, some of the province we have training very frequently. For example, Sichuan, Gansu, Shanxi, and also the coast area for the Kantong and also Fujian, many city, many province. So every year, our NERS, the National Earthquake Response Support Service, we have a lot of kinds of courses for users and also for the high-level emergency managers. And also, we have trainings for user teams, for users, and also for volunteers. So and we have different kinds of training courses.
Okay, thanks. And so the last question is probably a pretty quick one, but I haven't seen this particular question come up so far in our webinar series, so I wanted to ask you about it specifically. So how do you deal with a quick damage assessment of cultural heritage during crisis events such as earthquakes, floods, etc.? Is there a special program or department that deals with cultural aspects of disaster?
Yes, for each big earthquake occur, the very important things is about very quick response. But if we want to respond, we must know where the big earthquake occurred, where will be the very heavy damage area. So we will give a very quick response. So normally we with the first we will make a decisions. We give a very quick assessment about we call the micro disaster area. So we have an epicenter of the earthquake, but normally the epicenter of the earthquake normally not so heavy damage. So that depends on the surface ruptures of the earthquake force. So and in MEM, because we created our CISA from China Earthquake Administration. So in China, it's very special. We have many earthquake disaster assessment experts. So that's for each earthquake occur, for example, in the domestic and also international, we will very quickly respond. Depends on our new ministries. After the big issues occur, 10 minutes to half hour, we must give a very quick and roughly assessment report to our government. And then 1 hour after the big rescue occur, we will give a very roughly assessment. It's a huge or medium or light, the heavy damage. So, and if the big earthquake with a huge damage, normally 3 hours later, we must give the decisions. So, for the international search and rescue operation, and for the domestic, normally half hour. So we know if when the earthquake occur, what's the epicenter, what's time, what's the population, the density of population, and what's the depth of the epicenter. So with these parameters, we can very quickly to estimate what's the death toll. So death toll will be very important for each times for we arrange of the user teams, how many of them, where they will be arranged. So in the past 15 years, I was the deputy general team leader of China Search and Rescue, China International Search Team. So that's my job. And also after 2018, we founded the CISA, China Search and Rescue Team. From that time, I am the general mentor of this team. So we know how to lift when the disaster occur. What's the damage? What's the level? What's the area? What's the principles of this disaster? So we will very quickly to start up our CISA team. And then we will very quickly mobilize our teams to where that they're very heavy damage. So just like in Nepal earthquake, after the big earthquake, 20 minutes, we start up our team. But we wait for 10 hours. And then when we arrive to Kathmandu city, after 20 minutes, we arrive to the very heavy damaged area. We call the bus station. And then after about 40 hours, we save 2 victims. We save 2 lives. So that's depends on we have many years experience for assessment of the rescue disaster. So that's just you mentioned as just as my task. So that's the user, international user of China. We have the skills. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So we have a number of other questions left, but what we will do is we will basically write those down and we'll send them to you over to you, Guosheng, and then we'll get some answers and we'll post them in the LinkedIn group so that you'll be able to take a look there and get some answers to your questions. We have at least another, I think it's 14 questions regarding the presentation, but we'll certainly share those and try and get you some answers as soon as possible with regards to that. Harold, did you have anything to add before we close out for today?
Actually not, but just seeing so many questions to the presentation show me that this is working. And I'm very happy to see that. And I believe this will only increase in the future. And I look forward also to other presentations. And thank you to Guosheng for giving an overview of China. I think that was very important.
Yes, thank you very much, Guosheng, and thanks to everybody for attending. And of course, we will be back in another couple of weeks with another presentation. As you saw that we had already listed, we've got 5 more presentations or webinars coming up through May and June. And again, join that LinkedIn group because we're going to be posting the questions and answers there. But thanks again. Thank you very much for presenting the information on China, and have a great day. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.